Okay, so what I want you guys to be able to do today is set up and solve one-step and two-step equations based on some word problems. Okay, the one-step ones are going to feel actually more difficult and more awkward for you because you're so accustomed to just answering these in a one, abstract multiply or divide. You're not used to having to write it as an equation. So what I'm hoping is that I'll give you some strategies to write it as an equation. Here's what I mean by that. Do you see how these two problems are related? Okay. X, let me just erase this here. Okay. X plus 5 equals 8. 8 take away 5 equals x. One equation is the reverse of the other. In both cases, x is equal to 3. They're both equal to 3. 3 plus 5 equals 8, and 8 take away 5 equals 3. What you probably would have done in elementary school answering these questions is just straight up take the numbers, add, subtract, multiply, or divide them. What I want you to start doing is writing an equation with a variable in it, and that means working forward through the problem instead of working backward. But it will not feel like, it'll feel very backwards to you to start with. Okay? So here's the steps to this. First of all, read the problem. Okay? And I might do this a little bit out of order. Assigning the variable might be the next thing that I do. Assigning the variable means identifying the question and making that the letter. Okay? Then you're going to look for keywords and necessary information. Finally, you'll set up the equation and then you'll solve it. Now in class I did this with highlighters to help you identify and label information in the problem. So our first sample problem says Kim was given $16 for washing the car. She now has $20.23. How much did she start out with? I understand that your first inclination is going to be to just subtract those numbers. However, I want to change your thinking to writing equations, and I'm purposefully picking problems like this that are really easy so that it's very comforting when you get them right, because then we'll be doing two-step equations, and in chapter 3 and chapter 4 we're going to be writing equations with two variables in them. So we need to be able to write equations with one. So let's identify the variable. Here's what that means. It just means how much did she start out with is our question. We're trying to figure out the amount of money she started with. Okay, so I'm kind of restating that question, just pulling out the basic information. And I'm going to make up a variable that makes sense. Okay, so I might use D for dollars. All right, and we're going to go back and identify all the numbers. We're writing an equation, so it's going to have a D in it, and it's going to equal a number. So the next easy information and keywords that I could be looking for is find the number that I could put after the equal sign. Okay, and those are numbers that are like the result or what they have now or something like that. So in this question, she now has $20.23. That's like a result. A result would go after the equal sign. So right up here in the problem, I'm drawing an equal sign. 2023. And I'm going to put that after the equal sign in my equation. Alright, 16. It said she was given 16. So I'm going to put a plus sign for plus 16. So she had some money to start with, so I will start with a D. She was given $16, and the result is she has $20.23. Now, I'm really in this video not going to focus on the solving because these are 1- and 2-step equations. If you don't know how to solve 1- and 2-step equations, go back and watch the videos for that. That would be 2-1 and 2-2. Okay? You have to still solve them on your homework, but for this video, I'm gonna focus on setting them up. All right, Bob bought 8 toy cars for a total of $60.96. How much did each car cost? Okay, so the question is, how much did each car cost? So we're trying to figure out the cost of one car. What letter would make sense for that? Oh, I think C. Okay, then let's go and identify our numbers. Now, be cautious because sometimes numbers are spelled. That's to prevent all of you who like to skim word problems from, that's an attempt to trick you. Okay? All right, out of those two numbers, let's see, which one sounds like it should go after the equal? Well, the keyword total here sounds like a result to me. Okay? Totals are results. So I'm going to stick an equal sign right here in front of the problem, and right in the problem in front of that number, and I'm going to write it after the equal sign in my equation. Then we have 8 toy cars. Now, each is a keyword that maybe you don't know. Means it can either mean multiply or divide. It depends on the context of the question. And in this case, I'd be looking for other clues as to whether I should multiply or divide. Well, I also see the word total. And here, the word total usually makes us think of add, but multiplying is a form of addition. Multiplying is repeated addition. So the word each tells us multiply or divide, and the word total makes us think of addition, and addition is related to multiplication. And if you think about it, it makes sense. He bought 8 cars, so 8, how many cars he bought, times C for how much each one cost, and that would give the total. Okay? Again, on your homework, you'd have to solve, divide both sides by 8, etc. But I'm going to focus on just setting them up. Okay, let me move this out of the way. All right, number 3. Bob had some M&Ms. You'll notice I use Bob a lot. It's because I'm just not being creative. Nothing other than that. I don't really know anybody named Bob. That's just how we're doing it. Bob had some M&Ms. When he divided it up amongst his 5 children, each child got 32 M&Ms. How many were in the package? So what are we trying to figure out? We're trying to figure out the number of M&Ms in the package. Okay, so now we've got the number 5 and we've got the number 32, and we're going to try to figure out which one of those seems like the equal. Well, I'm thinking that the result is that each child got 32. So that gets an equal sign. Okay, oh, we didn't say a letter. Number of M&Ms in the package will say M. Sorry, forgot to assign the letter. So 5, let's see, I see the word each, and we just learned, if you didn't know, that each helps us with it's either multiply or divide. I have to look for more clues. Oh, it said divided. So I'm going to set up a division problem. He has some M&Ms in the package, and each divided it up amongst 5 kids, and it equaled 32. Here you're going to multiply both sides by 5 in order to get how many M&Ms. I think it's 160. Okay? So those are all one-step equations, setting them up. So identifying your variable, figure out what goes with the equal sign, and then figure out whether you should add or subtract the number with the variable, or multiply or divide. Okay, let's go to 2 steps. Guys, setting up the 2 steps is probably more important to me than setting up the 1 steps, because setting up 2-step equations we will be doing when 2-step equations are linear when they have 2 variables in them. Okay, so this is actually more important to me that you can do. What you're looking is to write an equation that has the format of a number times a variable plus another number equals the result. Okay, Okay, so A, B, and C would all be numbers, and X would be whatever variable you're trying to find. It could be, whatever letter you're making up to use. Okay, so first, again, we're going to read the question. Bob paid $5 to rent bowling shoes and $3 per game. If he spent a total of $14, how many games of bowling did he pay for? So the first easiest thing to figure out is what should go after the equal sign. So you're looking for words that indicate that it's the result or the total. I see the word total here. And so I'll stick an equal sign right here in front of the 14. Oh, I didn't assign my variable yet. How many games of bowling did he pay for? We're trying to find number of bowling games. You could use B for bowling, or we'll use G for games. It doesn't matter. Just, guys, when you assign variables, don't pick random letters like Q. Okay, I know it's easy to feel sad for Q because Q doesn't start many letters and probably doesn't get a lot of play in math equations, but Q doesn't have anything to do with bowling games. So we'll keep it with letters that make sense for what we're talking about. Okay, so equals is the easiest thing to find. The next thing we have to decide is how to use the 5 and how to use the 3. One of them is going to multiply G, and the other one is going to stand alone and be either added or subtracted. So the A is the coefficient. And what I'm reading for is something that's going to happen multiple times, or could happen multiple times. Number that's going to be repeated. Keywords that I might look for would be per, or each, or every. Okay, so Bob paid $5 to rent bowling shoes and $3 per game. Okay, right there it is, $3 per game. I want you to put a G right next to the 3, and that's going to start off our equation. Okay, now we're either going to add 5 or subtract 5. The B, the number I'm either adding or subtracting, is something that happens one time, or it could be an amount that you start with. Okay, if you've ever been bowling and you've rented the shoes, you only rent one pair of shoes to use the whole time. Whether you bowl 1 game or 10 games, it's the same pair of shoes. So that one time that you pay the $5 doesn't get multiplied by anything. We're finding a total. Okay, the $5 we're paying is more than or above and beyond the cost of the games. So that would be 3G plus 5 equals 14. If it had said they had a $5 coupon, okay, then that would be something that we'd subtract off. All right, so we would be looking for context clues to know whether we would add or subtract. Okay, but since he's paying the $5, okay, that's going to be plus 5. All right, let's look at another word problem. Let's break it down. Bob went in a taxi. He paid a fee of $3 and $2.25 per mile. His total cab fare was $12. How many miles did he travel? All right, what are we trying to figure out? We're trying to figure out the number of miles traveled. Okay, and you know what? M makes sense as the letter. And we got some numbers that we got to use here. $3, $2.25, and 12. Let's see which one of those sounds like what it was equal to. It says his total cab fare. Okay, I see the word total was $12. Go ahead and stick an equal sign right there in front of the 12 and put equals 12. Okay, next I want to find the word per, each, or every. And I see it right here. Whoops. Right here next to the 225. So put the G next to the 225. 225G. Okay, again I see a total and he's paying a fee of $3. I see the word and. Okay, all of these indicate to me that we're adding $3 in. He's paying $2.25. Why did I write a G? I'm still on the bowling game question. Gotta switch that to an M. Okay, M plus 3 miles, or $3 for a fee. Okay, so $2.25 per mile plus a $3 fee. Okay, that $3 we pay whether we go 1 mile or 100 miles. All right. Let's look at number 3. Bob made birdhouses. It cost him $30 for materials. Each birdhouse sells for $5 each. If he makes a profit of $100, how many birdhouses did he sell? Okay, so what are we trying to figure out? The number of birdhouses sold. And we'll say that's B. Alright, we've got costing $30 and selling $5 each and a profit of $100. Okay, so the result is a profit of $100. So that goes after the equal sign. Okay, he's selling the birdhouses for $5 each. I see the word each, so I'm going to put the B right next to it. 5B. Okay, now I put this little hint here in case you don't know how profit is calculated. Profit is calculated by taking all the money you make with your product, but subtracting out any expenses you might have. For example, the materials you buy to make the birdhouses count as expenses. So it's going to cost him minus $30. He's already spent that. It's not $30 per birdhouse, it's $30 total. Okay? Alright, so that is how you set up and solve equations for word problems. Thanks. See you next time.